It's UFC Vegas 73, Dern versus Hill. Yes, that is the main event. You are seeing that correctly. The card isn't great, but you can still win tons of money betting on these fights. Welcome to the Fight Card. This is the show where we give you the best UFC bets to make for this weekend. This card isn't that great, but we think we have found some bets that you can make that will cash some tickets. So joining me is my main man, the Fight Prophet, G-Money. Garrett, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing, Jason?
Good, very good. So are you ready to make some money on UFC Vegas 73?
Always, man. Let's do this.
All right, let's see if we can find some best bets for this garbage card. It is UFC Fight Night Vegas 73, Dern versus Hill. Let's go to work. All right, the first fight on the card, Johnson versus Ferreira.
So some stuff I'm kind of looking into with this one is Ferreira is coming in at 38 years old. That's pretty old for a lightweight. He hasn't fought in about a year and 3 months, and he hasn't won a fight in over 3 years. So you have that on one side, but then you also have the other side that Johnson's kind of a 50-50 fighter, and one thing he is good at is he's good at losing fights that he's winning. So Ferreira is an experienced grappler, but he has below average wrestling, and Johnson is actually really good at stuffing the takedowns. So I think as long as he can keep the takedown stuff and he shows up, I should say that's the most important thing. As long as he shows up in this fight, he stuffs the takedowns, avoids anything on the ground, I think he could sit back and he can outpoint him. I hate to say it because I don't really trust Michael Johnson with my money, but I am going to be doing Johnson decision.
I'm over at Odds Jam right now. If you believe Johnson is going to win, you can get him at plus 135 at WinBet, DraftKings, or Bet Rivers. If you think Ferreira is going to win, you can get minus 150 at Caesars. If you think it's going to go the distance, we can get plus 150 at BetMGM and DraftKings. I have DraftKings pulled up. Michael Johnson to win by decision, plus 350. So that is a sick ticket if you think he's going to win by points. If you think it is going to go the distance and you think it could go either way, you can grab Ferreira plus 400 to win by decision.
The only way this doesn't go the distance is I think if Ferreira gets the submission. As long as there's no submission, nothing going to the ground, I'm pretty positive this one's going to decision.
Like Ferreira to win by submission plus 250, which is also a really good ticket. So you can have a couple different options you can go with here. This is kind of a cool option that they have on DraftKings. You can pick two guys to win by different methods. So you could do Ferreira to win by submission or Michael Johnson to win by decision. You could have both of those at minus 105.
That's a good way to make money.
So on FanDuel, I found Michael Johnson to win by points at plus 370. So that is the pick for Johnson versus Ferreira. Okay, so the next fight we're looking at is Fiallo versus Buckley. Buckley is a minus 215 favorite, so a pretty big favorite over Fiallo, who is plus 185.
So I saw those odds, the minus 215 and plus 185. I'm kind of shocked because I feel like this could be more of a coin flip. These guys are hard hitters, 24 combined knockouts between the two of them. And they're also pretty good at getting knocked out. Both have been knocked out 4 times, so they have bad durability. I think it's going to be a fun fight either way. It's going to be a really enjoyable one to watch. It's going to be just two big dudes throwing down. One thing also taking into consideration, Buckley is coming down a weight class. He hasn't fought in welterweight since 2018. So, that's a pretty big weight cut going from 185 to 170. So I don't know how that's going to affect him. I have it as a coin flip. I think my number one bet with this is under 1.5 rounds. Don't see this one going past the first round. I think one of them is going to get clipped pretty hard.
And these two guys, like you said, are both knockout fighters. Of their last 10 fights, 7 have ended in knockout. So they both like to knock out, and they both get knocked out frequently. Okay, so we're on Odds Jam right now. We are looking at the money line odds for these two fighters. Buckley, you like Buckley, you can get him at minus 215 at DraftKings. But if you think Fiallo is going to pull it off, you can get plus 190 at both WinBet or Caesars. If you want to bet on the rounds, if you want to bet under 1.5 rounds, you can get it at plus money, plus 105 at several sites. And if you want to play it super safe and want to bet under 2.5 rounds, you can get minus 190 at DraftKings. Really like under 2.5, minus 190.
I say there's a next to no chance that's going the distance.
I have Fiallo by KO on DraftKings, plus 350. So if Fiallo is going to win the fight, that's probably how he's going to do it. So instead of betting on the money line on Fiallo, put some money on Fiallo plus 350. If you switch over to FanDuel, you can get Buckley by KO at plus 120. If you think Buckley's going to win, how he's going to do it is probably by knockout. So you can get plus money on the favorite on his pretty much his best and only winning condition. Think the fight's going to end by knockout, you can bet minus 210 on FanDuel.
And I'd say there's about a 99% chance it will.
Okay, so the next fight we're looking at Edmund Shahbazian at plus 185 versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez at minus 215.
So from what I saw, is Hernandez, he's the second biggest favorite on this whole card. And honestly, I don't know why Shahbazian kind of took this fight. It's a horrible matchup for him. He's going against a guy with wrestling pushing the pace. He's going against a guy that's 4-1 in his last 5. The only thing I think Edmund has a chance at winning is getting pretty much a round 1 knockout. If it goes past round 1, I'm going Anthony Hernandez submission. Anthony Hernandez is known for breaking down guys. He's done it plenty of times, and I think this is a perfect opponent for him.
Okay, so I have Odds Jam pulled up with the money line. So if you like Hernandez in the fight, the best you can get him is minus 210 at both BetMGM and Caesars. If you think Shahbazian is going to pull it off, you can get him basically plus 186 or 185 everywhere. So if you're going to bet on Shahbazian, I think the best way to do it is Shahbazian by knockout, and specifically in the round 1. Because like Garrett's saying, Hernandez has so much stamina. He's going to break you down eventually. So if Shahbazian's going to do it, it's going to be early on in the fight. You can get Shahbazian by KO in round 1 at DraftKings for plus 750. I wouldn't put a lot of money on it, but it's definitely Shahbazian's best winning condition is by knockout. And if he's going to do it, it's probably going to be in the first round. If you want to play it safer and think maybe he could clip him in the second round while he's still got a little energy left, you can get Shahbazian to win by KO in the entire fight at plus 400. So don't bet Shahbazian plus 185. Hernandez to win by submission in round 2 at plus 600, and round 3 plus 1200. Again, don't put a lot of money on it, but just like something to put a few bucks on, cash a lottery ticket.
I don't think he's going to want to be on the feet long with Shahbazian, so I think he's going to want to take it down and secure his win and get the money and go home.
Okay, so on Odds Jam, I'm looking at the total rounds under 2.5 for Hernandez versus Shahbazian. You can get it at minus 160 at both DraftKings and BetRivers. Now for the main event, we have Mackenzie Dern at minus 170, Angela Hill plus 145. This is, believe it or not, a UFC main event, but you can still make money off of it. Garrett, what was your read on this fight?
So yeah, always money to be made. A little shocked this is the main event. When I saw this, which I think everybody thought the same thing, is Mackenzie Dern submission. So there's MMA black belts in jiu-jitsu, and then there are elite jiu-jitsu competitors, and Mackenzie Dern is an elite one. She's got multiple ADCC gold medals from there, which is huge. Just Pan Am champ, world champ, you name it. So she's a very, very experienced grappler, and her wrestling since her time in the UFC has also improved. Her takedowns she's gotten more and more takedowns. She kind of needs this win. I think she's going to have the edge a little bit. She is 30 years old. She's fighting a 38-year-old. So I'm going to say Dern submission, round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could happen in the first. It could happen in the 5th, anywhere in between. So that's my best bet, my safest bet. However, Hill has good takedown defense, and she has a lot better striking. So a Hill decision is not out of the question, with Hill trying to maintain the distance and not let Mackenzie Dern get close to take her down. But the question is, will Hill be able to stuff takedowns and keep her away for 25 minutes? That's a long time. So I think eventually, once Mackenzie gets close and even gets it slightly to the ground, I think it's done and over with. I think it's a wrap. So I'm going to go Mackenzie Dern submission.
I agree. I think that if it goes to the ground, Dern has got the fight locked up. So can she, and she's got 5 rounds to do it. Can she take her to the ground in 5 rounds? Probably. But like you said, Hill has really good takedown defense. It stays standing. Hill has a solid chance, and she could win points just with her striking. So there's a couple of different ways that we can bet this fight. If you want to do Mackenzie Dern money line, the best bet over at Odds Jam, we find minus 170 at both Caesars and DraftKings. Angela Hill is plus 150. Okay, so if you think Mackenzie Dern's going to win, it's probably going to be by submission. We found it over on FanDuel at plus 180. Angela Hill by points, you can get her at plus 210. Okay, so right now I'm looking, Angela Hill by knockout is plus 900.
I've got Angela Hill's record up right here, 15-12. Of those 15 wins, 5 have been knockout, 0 submissions, and 10 decisions. And then of her 12 losses, she's been submitted twice, but I don't think she's faced a grappler as experienced as Mackenzie Dern is.
Okay, so check out this super sick parlay. Dern by submission, Hernandez by submission, KO in the Fiallo Buckley fight, that's how that fight's going to end, plus 1181. Two favorites, Dern and Hernandez, and their best winning conditions, probably submission. And the Fiallo Buckley fight ending in a knockout, plus 1180. $10 wins you 118.
Oh, easy.
I wouldn't say easy, but it's quite possible. It definitely could happen. Okay, so check out this parlay on FanDuel. Fiallo Buckley knockout minus 210. You can get Hernandez by KO or points, so a double chance there at plus 130. Over 2.5 rounds for Ferreira Johnson, plus 122. You pair those three things together, a plus 653 three-leg parlay. Okay, so these are our best bets for UFC Vegas 73. We have Johnson by points, Fiallo Buckley under 2.5 rounds, Hernandez by sub, and Dern by sub. Hopefully we win some money. Let's have a big weekend.
Let's do it.